What is going on, everybody? Gamers Goon here today with your NFL week number 3 predictions. And hey, by the way, you know how we went 7-9 in week 1? Yeah, we turned it around last week. We went 12-4. So we're now sitting at 19-13 in the season. So we really picked it up last week, and we're going to look to keep that up this week. And we have an interesting slate of games. I'm not really too excited about the prime time games this week. Let's get on into them. And that's Thursday Night Football. We have the Dolphins, who have, I'm going to be honest, the Dolphins aren't good, man. They aren't good. Tua, he's somebody I want to like, but this Dolphins team just ain't it. The coaching staff, I think, is letting this team down a little bit. And then you also just, it seems like they never do anything with it. I mean, they have Tyreek Hill, not necessarily a huge focal point in their offense. Achan's a guy, obviously. Waddle every now and then pops up, but this team should be a lot with the talent and the speed that they've got. They should be a lot better than what they are, and they just simply are not that just yet. I gotta turn off my notifications here, but they aren't that just at the moment. I don't know what the deal is with this Dolphins team, but this is an 0-2 team coming off of a loss that I picked them to win, and I said when I picked them to beat the Patriots, I said specifically, I will not pick them again. I'm not falling for it. I'm not going to fall for it. And it makes it really easy this week. They're playing the Bills, who I think are playing some of the best football out of anybody. Um, Obviously, they beat the Ravens in that close game, made the Jets look very easy. Justin Fields got hurt in that game, but even until Justin Fields got out of that game, there was not much going on for the Jets. The Bills just dominated that game from the word go, and I think this is going to be very similar. I do think that this Dolphins team is a little bit more talented than that Jets team in a sense, and especially if you can keep Tua up, and unlike Fields being able to stay up. So I did give them the benefit of the doubt of getting more. I'm going Buffalo to win it, 35-17, but I don't expect a particularly close game. Not very high here on the Dolphins. Now let's get into the Sunday slate, and the Sunday slate starts off with a game that a couple weeks ago, if you would have told me, hey, we're going to have this game, Colts versus Titans, I'd be like, I'm not interested. Well, here's the thing. Cam Ward, obviously, we're kind of waiting to see him come into his own. So there's a reason to watch the Titans. Alec Ayamanor has been doing really, really well for them. Other than that, they're still struggling to get going. But Daniel Jones, yes, I know it's a bizarre world right now. Daniel Jones is why I'm interested to watch this game. I've been trying to pick him up in every single fantasy league I have. This guy's good, man. This guy's good. He wasn't good in New York, but so far through 2 games, he just has been that guy for the Colts, right? They are so far 2-0. They are currently favorites to win the division, but they won a close game, a game that I thought, this is probably going to be a come down to earth moment. It's the Broncos. The Broncos defense is really good. You're not going to do too much. Um, yeah, he got no interceptions, 300 yards, 1 touchdown. He ran for 2 yards and a touchdown, but either way, Daniel Jones in that game threw for 300 yards against a really good Broncos secondary. Pat Surtain's there. A really good secondary there in Denver. I thought it was going to be low scoring, and I kind of had the same vibe about this game. I was like, Titans defense usually gives the offense a chance, right? The Rams weren't necessarily the case, but the Broncos was a kind of a low scoring game. The Rams were able to get up there. If you would ask me a few weeks ago, I'd be like, that's probably a low scoring 20-17 kind of game. No, I think that the Colts can get it up to 28. I'm going Colts winning 28-17. I'm still going with that 17 for Tennessee. Gonna hopefully see some Cam Ward touchdowns here today. I'm going for 2 Cam Ward touchdowns and a field goal for him. But Daniel Jones, man, he's having a resurgence right now in Indianapolis. I've been trying to pick him up in all my fantasy leagues. I recommend you do the same. I think he is a very good budget option at the moment, and I think you need to jump ahead of the curve here because I think this could be like last year with Sam Darnold, right? Where it's Sam Darnold. What do we expect? And then he had a really good year. Then he had a really, really good year. I think you're kind of looking at something similar to that, where you need to jump ahead of the curve before the curve gets too far out of hand. Daniel Jones, I've seen 2 weeks worth of production. I know I got him in one league. I'm hoping to get him in some others that I have waivers out that go through later this afternoon. But Daniel Jones, man, this is the guy. I believe in him now. I've seen what I've needed to see. I think they're going to win this game. We're going with Indianapolis to win 28-17. Next, we get to the Steelers going up against the Patriots. Like I said, the Patriots got their victory, and the Steelers kind of had a come back down to earth moment. I thought the Seahawks weren't that great, and the Seahawks won by double digits. Don't know what to expect out of this Steelers team. I would expect the defense to kind of give the Patriots some problems. The Steelers are going to be a tough team to figure out this year because I think they can beat some teams, but I also think they're susceptible to one of those drop-off games. Aaron Rodgers, how well does he play in this one? Drake May, can they make him make mistakes? It's going to kind of be a dogfight, though. I'm going to say the Steelers win it. Close, 28-24, but I'm not confident on that one. I'm not really that confident on that one. Next, we're going to get into the Jets, who, yes, you're looking at Tyrod Taylor, not Justin Fields. The Jets going up against the Buccaneers. Rachaad White with a big game last week. Game-winning touchdown, sealed the deal. Tyrod Taylor might be starting this game. Justin Fields has entered concussion protocol, and there's a lot of other guys that we are going to talk about that are potentially going to miss time. But Justin Fields, concussion protocol, he is one of the ones that, for the time being, questionable to play. But at the end of the day, Tyrod Taylor is somebody that can steer the ship. Is he somebody that's going to go out you and win you the game? I don't think so. Baker Mayfield, I thought he was going down with injury. And then he popped back up because somebody was talking trash, and guess what? Baker Mayfield loves to talk trash. So you almost had Baker injured, but Baker, he ain't getting injured when somebody's talking trash. But the Buccaneers should win this one. The Jets kind of tricky, solid defense. Not a terrible offense, but nothing really that special. They can maybe give you some fits here and there, but I got the Buccaneers winning this one 24-17. I was looking at the next score. So 24-17, we're going with the Buccaneers to win. Next, we get to the Raiders going up against the Commanders. The Raiders have been relatively impressive. They're 1-1. But it wasn't too terrible against the Chargers. 20-9. They had some chances that they missed. And that's just Geno being Geno and making some mistakes there late. They had some chances. We'll see what they can do against the Commanders. The Commanders, like I said with Justin Fields, there's some injury buzz going on right now in the NFL. There is another one right here. Marcus Mariota might be starting this game for the Commanders. I believe it's a sprained ankle with Jaden Daniels. Let me make sure I'm not BSing you, but I do know he's on the injury report. Jaden Daniels, he has, my bad, it's an injury to the knee, so I am BSing you a little bit. It's a sprained knee. Don't know if he'll be good to go. Austin Eckler now on the IR as well. It's going to be a tricky week to win. I still gotta rock with the Commanders because on paper they're still the better team with or without Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota, somebody that can definitely steer the ship like we've been talking about. I gotta go with the Raiders to win. The Commanders to win. I got a close game, 31-27 in the favor of the Commanders. I think that this Raiders team is going to be competitive this year. I don't know if they're going to win those close games, but I think they'll be competitive. The Commanders, somebody that I got a lot of respect for. I'm going to tip my cap and say they get the job done with or without Jaden Daniels in the lineup. Next we get to the Rams versus the Eagles. The Rams versus the Eagles. There's not too much to be said on this game, really, if I'm going to be honest with you. Both teams are 2-0. One team, I think, can win a Super Bowl. The other team has played the Texans and the Titans. The other team has played the Chiefs and the Cowboys. Playoff teams. I don't know that the Rams have ran into a playoff team. This screams Eagles to me, man. It screams Eagles. There's no major injuries here. I mean, Dallas Goedert and Will Shipley are both questionable, but that's not something. I mean, you have Saquon, so Will Shipley doesn't necessarily make a big dent into anything. Braden Fisk, probably the biggest name on the injury report in this game. It's on the Rams side. It just doesn't add up to being a Rams upset victory here. The Rams are going to lose it. Philadelphia wins 31-21. Just not too exciting. Not much really going on there for the Rams at the moment. Next, we get to the Falcons and the Panthers. And there's nothing crazy in terms of injuries for this game. But there's two things. Drake London needs to be more involved if you're the Falcons. Bijan Robinson is really, really good if you're the Falcons. Michael Penix will air it out, and he's been pretty solid. Now, for the Panthers side of things, Bryce Young just simply needs to be better. 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions so far. Needs to be better. Tedero McMillan has been all that you've asked for. 11 receptions, 168 yards. He is the guy. Force feed him. Do what you must. Hunter Renfrow has been solid. Chuba Hubbard hasn't been necessarily great, but he's been solid. You should really just, if you're the Panthers, it's a must-win game. I just don't know how they do it. Even with A.J. Terrell potentially being out in this game, it's just a tough game to ride with the Panthers. I got the Falcons winning 28-14. I really like this Falcons team. I really do. They're 1-1. The Panthers are 0-2 coming in. I think the Falcons are going to pull it out. So we're going to go with the Falcons to get the job done. Talk about games that we're going to see QB2s in. This game, hey, by the way, get well soon, Joe Burrow. This is a Joe Burrow jersey. Yeah, this is a Joe Burrow jersey. While it is kind of weathered, it is a Joe Burrow jersey. Get well soon, Joe Burrow. Get well soon, J.J. McCarthy. But this one is going to be Jake Browning going up against Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, obviously the more experienced of the duo. I would say, though, Jake Browning, not too terrible, because every time he stepped in for the Bengals has been solid. Like, they know how to work around kind of his limits, and he usually plays pretty well for the Bengals when he steps in. Carson Wentz, obviously, we know that, like, he was really, really good in, 6-7 years ago, right? We'll see who still has it. I don't know, but I think Jake Browning is a really solid replacement. Anyways, Cincinnati is going to win this one. There's not too much really on the injury report other than the quarterbacks, but obviously that's the big ones. Aaron Jones going to be out for the season for the Vikings. I believe he's out for the season. Maybe he's just out for... Okay, he's out for 4 games at least. I thought it was the season. My apologies. Either way, the Bengals should win this one. It's going to be lower scoring than if Joe Burrow and company were there, but it's still going to be a Bengals win. Cincinnati wins out 21-17. Next, we get to the Texans versus the Jaguars. Two teams that I think are kind of sputtering at the moment. The Texans, obviously 0-2. The Jaguars 1-1, coming off of a close loss to the Bengals, and that was the Browning Bengals for the most part. Dominated the Panthers. Trevor Lawrence just needs to be better. If the Jaguars are going to have a year, he's 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Simply needs to be better. C.J. Stroud, not necessarily wowing the world, but not doing bad either. Nick Chubb, obviously, punched one in late, gave him too much time. Travis Etienne with a resurgence year. Nico Collins looks the part in the receiving game for the Texans, and then all the weapons that the Jaguars got. But Brian Thomas on the injury report this week, questionable. He hasn't been a huge factor just of yet in this season. I'm still rocking with the Texans to win this one. The Texans have been playing close. They've been playing tricky teams. I think they win this one 21-14. The Jaguars, though, could get the job done here, so don't be shocked if that does happen. Next, we get to the Packers versus the Browns. The Packers have been, in my opinion, and this pains me as a Bears fan, and once again, I'll pan to my face. I am not happy to say this, but the Packers have looked like one of the best teams, if not the best teams, in not college football, in the NFL this year. I thought the Commanders would play close against them. They won by 9, double digits, 2-possession game. Lions, they won by double digits, 2-possession game. The Browns, I think, is the worst out of the group that they have played. Now, the good thing going for the Browns is they did limit the Bengals to 17. They might be able to limit the Packers a little bit offensively. Obviously, the Ravens week didn't go out too well, but it's the Ravens who we think could be a Super Bowl contender. I don't know how far off the Packers are, but they're up there. You see what Quinshon Judkins can do against a really good defense. You'll see kind of what Joe Flacco is able to do. There's kind of started to be some buzz about moving on from Flacco, and we kind of figured that would be the case. 0-2, the 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Hasn't been great from Flacco by any means. High volume as of right now. He's throwing 45 passes a game. He's thrown 90 through 2 games. That's not going to be a winning recipe. Dylan Gabriel, we got to see him in limited fashion last week. He got a touchdown pass to Dylan Sampson. I just don't see how this game is very good for the Browns. I don't. Either way, the Packers win double digits yet again, 35-21. I'm giving 21, hoping that maybe Joe Flacco can force feed Cedric Tillman the ball because I need him to, or maybe Quinshon Judkins pops off because I have Quinshon Judkins in some leagues. But I'm not very high on this Browns team here against the Packers. That's a tough task, man. And as a Bears fan, I'm going to be honest, I'm not looking forward to the Packers because they will probably beat us this year. Next, we get the Broncos versus the Chargers. And I didn't really do this, but it's a battle of Oregon QBs. Bo Nix versus Justin Herbert. But Troy Franklin needs to be highlighted, man. Big week last week, kind of his coming out party. He is somebody that you should start watching out for. He is somebody that should start getting on some radars as being one of those guys. Leads the team in receiving yards, 133 through 2 games. Leads the team in receptions with 12. Leads the team in targets even. Has that connection going with Bo Nix. And then you look at the Chargers. Obviously, Quentin Johnston leads the team in yards. He's had a really good season so far. But this Chargers team is, I think, is operating at a different level. I like the Broncos, right? I'm rooting for Bo. I'm rooting for Troy Franklin. But this Chargers team's operating at a different level. They're operating like they want to be a Super Bowl contender. I don't think I'm going to go out and say they're going to win the Super Bowl, anything crazy just yet. But Justin Herbert, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, 44 for 61 for the season, 560 yards. This dude has been torching teams so far. The one thing lacking really has been the run game. Omarion Hampton, through 2 games, has 72 yards, not doing too much. There's nothing crazy on the injury report. Dre Greenlaw, Khalil Mack, Elijah Molden, all questionable, but nobody offensively. I think this game is going to be a game that favors the Chargers in every aspect. I've been impressed with their abilities defensively. I think they have the better offense as of right now, just because Justin Herbert is playing at an MVP caliber level. Not to say Bo Nix isn't playing really well, but he is not at the level of Justin Herbert this year at this point in time. Justin Herbert is operating on a different planet right now, and I think a very early take could be that he is the MVP this season. So the Chargers, I got them winning 24-17. Shout out to Troy Franklin for a big week last week. Next, we get to the Saints versus the Seahawks. I'm gonna 0-2 Saints, right? Played close against the 49ers. The Seahawks obviously also played close against the 49ers. Beat the Steelers. I'm just not a big fan here. 52 for 80 isn't bad from Rattler necessarily. It's not bad. It's not great. 3 touchdowns, 420 yards. His percentage is 65% completion, which is actually pretty solid. Sam Darnold, believe it or not, coming into this game, Spencer Rattler's been the better QB. Sam Darnold's been bad. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and Sam Darnold's percentage at the moment is 67%. So his completion percentage is up. He's just not been getting touchdowns, not really moving the ball necessarily. Kenneth Walker had a good week last week. Alvin Kamara, pretty good. Nobody crazy on the injury report. If anything, though, I think it favors the Saints. Witherspoon and Nick Amon-Wari are both questionable. So we'll see if those guys end up going. But at the end of the day, though, the Saints have no business competing with the Seahawks. The Seahawks win this one 28-14. Next, we get to the game I am terrified to talk about. The Bears got absolutely embarrassed, and this is my team. And once again, this is my face. I'm not happy with the Bears at the moment. But we got to talk about it. The Bears and the Cowboys. Jalen Johnson seemingly done for the rest of the season with an injury, might need surgery. TJ Edwards questionable with hamstring. Cavante Turpin, Durant Bland both questionable in this game. But the Bears guys, the defense looked terrible last week. They looked terrible. And this is a Cowboys team that is very dangerous, has a lot of speed. Cavante Turpin, even if he doesn't play, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have George Pickens. You got some guys in the run game as well, Javonte Williams. The Bears right now, if they can't figure it out defensively, are not going to be competitive in this game. They just won't. The Bears' offense hasn't been the problem. There's been a lot of people calling for Caleb Williams to be benched. It has not been a Caleb Williams fault. It hasn't. 417 yards, 40 for 65, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. You'd like maybe that percentage to be a little higher than 61%, but at the end of the day, it hasn't been a Caleb Williams thing. You're not going to give up 52 points and win a game very often. You're not going to collapse defensively in the second half against the Vikings and win games very often. The run game, through 2 games, 116 yards from DeAndre Swift, and you got to remember he's basically the only one. Run game hasn't been what you hoped. The offensive line hasn't been what you hoped. The only thing going well for you at the moment is Rome Odunze, who is pictured on our right. Rome Odunze looks the part. Rome Odunze looks like the guy. Rome Odunze could easily be the receiver 1 by the end of the year. DJ Moore, like I've been saying kind of over the course of the offseason and leading up into this season in the first few games, DJ Moore looks like somebody that might be getting traded because you have Rome Odunze. You're hoping Luther Burden can work out. Olumide Zaccheaus has been solid. But you need to see more out of Burden before you can make that decision. But Rome Odunze looking the part of stepping into that receiver 1 category for the Bears. I really don't like this game, though. I don't like this game one bit. I think it's going to be bad for the defense. The defense hasn't impressed me. Dennis Allen, you got to figure it out. I hope I'm wrong about this game. But I'm going with Dallas to win 38 to the Bears 24. I just can't see the Bears stopping this defense. CeeDee Lamb, they're gonna pick on our secondary all day. Somebody's got to step up, whether it's Tyreek, whether it's Kyler Gordon coming back from injury, whether it's Nashawn Wright, whether it's Nick McLeod. I don't care who it is. Somebody's got to step up in the secondary, and we'll see who it is. But right now, kind of looking like there's some lost hope. The DB room that I thought was really, really talented when you had Terrell Smith and you had Jalen Johnson and you had Kyler Gordon. Well, those guys have missed games already. Now you're operating with Tyreek Stevenson, Nashawn Wright, Nick McLeod as your first unit, right? Tyreek has had it here and there, but now you're, instead of guarding second or third best receiver, you're on CeeDee Lamb. That's a big adjustment. We'll see if he can step up to it. We'll see what the Bears can do, but not looking forward to this game. Next, we get the Cardinals versus the 49ers. 49ers going to be without Brock Purdy, obviously. Cardinals, they've been fine. I'm going to rock with Trey McBride and company here. Trey McBride, the guy pictured on the left. The Cardinals, just I think the better team. Mac Jones, not going to get the job done for the 49ers. Arizona wins at 24-21. Not much to say there. Next, we get to the Chiefs versus the Giants. Hey, I will take one on the chest right now and say I was wrong. Because I told you, hey, Russell Wilson probably got 1 or 2 more weeks before Jackson Dart, right? No. Russell Wilson stepped up to the plate last week. He delivered. While they did lose, Russell Wilson had a game. He had a game. Put up like 30-something fantasy points. Malik Neighbors force-fed him the ball, and guess what? Malik Neighbors delivered. That's the kind of guy Malik Neighbors is. He's one of the best receivers, if not the best up-and-coming receiver in the NFL. Obviously, you're not going to pair him up against Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, right? But he is up there with those guys. He's right up there with those guys. Either way, though, this should be a tight game. The Chiefs haven't really wowed me. I think the Chiefs do win. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Andy Reid, you trust him. Patrick Mahomes, you trust him. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs should win this one 28-24 in the favor of the evil Kansas City Chiefs. Next, we go to the Lions, who had a bounce back. And they are going up against the Ravens, who I think has been pretty solid. The Ravens are the better team, simply. The Ravens are the better team. They should win this game. It's going to be tight. I got Baltimore winning 31-24. Lamar Jackson, you're going to see what he can do. DeAndre Hopkins has been involved a little bit here and there. Zay Flowers, obviously. Last week, they got Devontae Walker involved, who is a second-year player that kind of came out of nowhere last week. Derrick Henry coming off a down week. It's you don't want to come off a Derrick Henry down week if you're the Lions. It's going to be a rough go for you. So I got the Ravens winning this one 31-24. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Let me know down below who you think will win this week, and I will see you all next time.